You may not know this about me, but cumin is my favorite spice. I probably use this multiple times a week. It's just so good. It's my favorite way to add flavor to just about any dish. And it's super versatile. I mean, it's common in a lot of more, the savory, more spicy dishes, think curries or stews. But I love cumin in just about everything. I use it in my own taco blend. I put it on seafood, rice, chicken, I mean, you name it. It's super versatile. Oh, it's so good. Since I use cumin so much, I usually have a jar in the cabinet of the ground stuff. It's just easy to sprinkle into a dish. But for the best flavor, usually when it comes to any hard spice, any seed spice like cumin is, you wanna get the whole seeds and kind of go through a little process to toast them and grind it up fresh. You're gonna get a way better flavor, and it's so nice, especially if you're making a specialty dish. Maybe it's a Sunday dinner or a recipe you want to be extra special. Go ahead and get the seed and grind it fresh. It's super easy. This is what it looks like, just little tiny seeds. So to toast this and get this ready, what I'm gonna do is I just have a dry skillet here. It's on really low heat. I'm gonna add in some cumin seed. Ooh, I can already smell this toasting. So this process goes quick. So you're gonna pour in your seeds. You don't need that many. If your recipe calls for a certain measurement of cumin, always use more. No, I freehand a lot of stuff. But if it calls for a certain measurement, you're gonna need slightly more cumin seeds to make the ground amount, because that makes sense. You grind it up, it's less volume. So dry skillet, low heat. You can maybe turn the heat up a little bit. I usually start in a colder pan, especially if you're using a gas stove, because those heat up really quickly. If you're using an electric stove, just be kind of patient, start on super low. Spices can toast and burn really quickly, so you just want to be very gentle. And what you're looking for is maybe just a slight sizzle sound. You wanna smell it, and you definitely wanna keep an eye on the color. Once you see some browning, once you see the color change, that's when you're ready to pull it. And you wanna get it out of the skillet pretty quickly, because it can go to burnt very quickly with the residual heat of the skillet. So what I usually do is just put it on the heat, take it off the heat, move it around, put it back on. So it's kind of like a simple gradual, and this just takes a few minutes, doesn't take very long. But what you're doing is toasting the spice, you're bringing out those natural oils and flavors, and a little heat will give you a lot more flavor than the powdered jar stuff. All right, almost there. Just gonna let that go another few seconds. And keep it moving around. You wanna toast all sides of the spice, not just one. So shaking it, using a spoon to mix it around. Cumin's great on roasted vegetables. If you want just a simple dish, just chop up some vegetables, saute them up, add some cumin, and roast them in the oven. It's delicious. It's traditional on lamb dishes, so if you're making lamb, if you're not a lamb fan, what I've done before is chicken meatballs. I make little chicken meatballs, flavor them with cumin. It's so good. So the easiest way to grind up the cumin is just with a mortar and pestle. Just go round and round, crush it up until it's a fine powder and there's no large seeds left. It's getting there. If you don't want to put in the elbow grease, just get a spice grinder. You can get cheap coffee grinders or spice grinders. Just make sure you're using it for your spices and not alternating between your spices and your coffee, because flavors can kind of stay in there. So it's best to have a spice grinder. I'm usually working in small amounts, so I'll just use this mortar and pestle. And these are super cheap, super versatile. You can use them for a variety of hard spices. Grinding, it's not just for cumin. I also like, instead of creating a super fine powder, let it have some texture. So give your recipe just a little bit more flavor, to have a little bit of that texture, grind it fresh. I can tell already this has more of a citrusy flavor. It's a lot brighter than the jarred stuff. Since it's been in the jar so long, it tends to lose a little bit of its potency. This is how cumin should taste, or closer to fresh. Oh, it's much brighter. And always, give your spices a try. Gives you an idea of what it tastes like, kind of what it's doing. Usually they're maybe kind of bitter or a little overwhelming, but it'll give you an idea of what that spice tastes like. You can tell that cumin has like a little bit more of those citrusy, like lemony notes when you use the seeds. It really is good. But I like it's very warming and comforting. It's a cozy spice. I love making rice dishes, so what I'll usually do is just take some cumin, toast it up, and then add it to some rice, maybe even some turmeric, just some salt, and let that cook. And then I have like a cumin rice as a side dish. It's so delicious. There you have it, your fresh ground cumin. It's really perfect if you want to elevate and make a dish super special. just go ahead, buy the seeds. They store a pretty long time, toast them up, and you'll get that delicious flavor in your recipe. Even if you have just the powdered spice already for cumin, go ahead and toast it up the same way. It'll release those oils and do a similar thing where roast the spice and gives it a little bit more flavor before you add it to your dish. So you can toast in a dry skillet if you're gonna add it as a seasoning. Just toast it up, just dry. This goes a lot quicker. So I usually heat up a pan, make sure it's not too hot, just a warm pan, put the powdered spice in there, move it around, and then I'll transfer it. I know this isn't toasted, but I'll transfer it to a small bowl. And then this is where you could add it to your recipe, add it to if you're grilling fish, roasting something, add it in there. If I'm making a recipe like a 1 skillet dish or a stew or a chili in a pot, I'll add my oil, then I'll add my cumin and other spices, and I'll go ahead and toast those, fry those in the oil. This is gonna accent the oil with that flavor. It's gonna enhance the flavor of the spice itself. Be sure to not burn it. So you want gentle, kind of medium to low heat. This just infuses that oil with the spice. It's gonna bring out the flavor. I can already smell this. This smells incredible. Then this is where you can add your other aromatics or start building your recipe, add your proteins. Just use this spiced oil. Just be sure to not burn this before you add your other ingredients. So another technique you can use to wake up the flavor of cumin or any dried spice. Whether you're starting from seed or powder, cumin is a go-to ingredient for any pantry.